Hello punters and welcome back to another Saturday racing preview. Of course, this weekend we've got the Mornington Cup as the feature Victoria meeting and also the Golden Slipper up in New South Wales at Rosehill Gardens. Really looking forward to getting stuck into that. Of course, in this video, if you've probably read in the title, I'm also going to be doing a quick preview and some tips for the feature races on the card tonight at Moonee Valley, as well as Mornington Cup. I'm going to try and squeeze into this one video for you. So hopefully you can get and have a view of this video before tonight's racing. Apologies, a little bit late. I was hoping to do it last night, but hopefully we can still get on. And regardless, hopefully you can then follow this on into the Mornington Cup tomorrow. Very good meeting down there, including the Cup and the Hareeba Stakes. So we'll get through those, and then of course look out for the next video, which will feature the Golden Slipper meeting up at Rosehill Gardens. So looking starting at tonight, Moonee Valley, race number 5 is where I'm going to begin my sort of small preview and tips. Going to roll through this really quickly. It's the 955 metre, 55-second challenge final. Really nice, group field going through here. All horses that are very well proven over the distance and the track. Of course, a lot of these were in heats leading into this, so really good race. Look at the speed map for this one. There's no surprise. There's always a lot of speed in these 955 metre races, so it really does, I think, very much depend on the tempo of the race and seeing. I could see that our Gladiator usually gets to the front, so I wouldn't be surprised if it finds a top special from barrier 3. Rebel Miss will be right up there as well. I'd say Lagerfeld and Miss Norway from outside barriers will try and get close to the speed. Look, the Centurion, Bellavella are usually on-speed runners. Fine Dane's usually an on-speed run as well. So a little bit of tempo here, and I think with all that speed out of the middle barriers, I think this race could set up real nicely for Epic Grey Hero. I think it's a great price at the $7.50. Of course, last week, beating similar opposition. Does have to carry a little bit of weight this time around, 58 kilos, but that was a pretty impressive performance for me, and I just think that if I can replicate that kind of performance here, I think it'd be really hard to beat. So I've got it on top in the 955 metre, 55-second challenge. The other one, look, our Gladiator has been fantastic, and $7.50 is a good price about it as well. I mean, she's just gone to the front. She does her own thing, and she just leads all the way. And I think it could, if she finds the front, and a few of those that I mentioned that like to usually be on speed don't actually get forward, it really could set up nicely for her just to lead all the way once again and win again. And I mean, you've got to respect the winning form, so she's got the winning form. So I'm going to have her in for second. In for third, number 10, the Commoner, who was very good behind our Gladiator last time out, and I think was perhaps a touch unlucky. If it had a bit more luck, probably might have gotten there and won. But I'm going to give it the Commoner a good chance to win as well. I think just right down the weights, 10 Newton's 2 kilo claim brings it right down to 53 kilos. So really isn't carrying a whole lot of weight, and it might sit really nicely for the Commoner just to finish him behind him, especially if he's positive out the gates from barrier 1, gets forward in behind the speed. Might just be able to get the chance to roll off our Gladiator's back or something like that and get into the race. But if it's not too quick to go, the main danger, and this is what I'm going to say at Bivouac later on, is that it will get stuck back on the fence. It's going to be one or two such scenarios. Either it's going to get him behind the speed and get a nice run in the box seat, or it'll be right back, 2-3 pairs back on the fence and be in all sorts of trouble and need a whole lot of luck. So, look, in terms of a betting perspective, look, the Commoner can win, but you'd be, I guess, looking for a bit of luck. So for me, I went to go against it just because of that. And number 7, Miss Norway, and for fourth, I think this horse has got a nice chance as well. It's just building towards a win now. It was second last time out over 1,100 metres behind Diamond Effort. I think that was a superb performance. They give Diamond Effort a very good chance in the Hareeba Stakes at Mornington. So which is a much tougher field than this. So I've got to give Miss Norway a bit of a chance as well in this race. So recap the numbers for me. Number 1, Epic Grey, the one to beat for me. Ahead of number 5, Our Gladiator, in for second. In for third, number 10, the Commoner. And in for fourth, number 7, Miss Norway. Moving on to race number 6 now, and this is the first of the main feature meetings for the night. We've got the Group 3 Alexander Stakes over the 1,100 metres. Really nice field, this one as well. Looking at the speed map for this race, I'd suggest that La 10 might be prominent. Probably won't find the front, but I'd say it would be close enough to the speed. Snap Dancer and Crystal Love off inside barriers usually like to roll forward on so that they might be able to get up there. And Miss Beckham's usually close to the speed as well. So not a whole lot of pace here. Muse, Eva Girl, can be on pace as well. There's no definite leader. A lot of these like to sort of sit in behind the lead. So I'd suggest maybe those horses off the inside barriers might be able to roll forward and get into a spot. For me, look, I'm pretty keen on number 6, Snap Dancer here for the Kieran David Eustace stable. I think from that barrier, it's just going to get a real nice run into the race. It'll either lead or be just outside the lead or be just in that pair back with a bit of cover. And I just think that's going to be a perfect run into the race for this horse. It was very good last night behind La 10 at Caulfield over the 400. Now steps out to the 16, which is going to be much better suited. We saw a step out to 2,000 metres last preparation. So she definitely is looking for more ground. And her recent track work at Moonee Valley was really sharp, and I think Johnny McNeil in the saddle, who's really firing at the moment, he's in great form. So I think this horse got a great chance to win this race at the $5. So I'm going to have it on top. And of number 3, Mrs. Beckham, who really did loom up last time out at Flemington over 400 metres, finished 7th on that occasion, just got swooped late by Rubasaki and Pretty Brazen. I think that is the best form in this race. I would have liked to see a little bit more from her first up, but it was still a good effort. Most of the leaders did drop out from that race. It was really a fastly run race, so it's set up for the back markers nicely. So I'll give her a bit of a credit there because she was still stuck on pretty well. Comes back on top of the ground off the soft track into this one where on a good track she has had 2 wins and 1 placing from 3 starts, so she really does enjoy being on a good track. So coming back to that off the soft surface at $9, second up at the Valley, should be close to speed, but not a lot of tactical speed in the race. I think that she has got a good chance of going close to winning as well. So give her a good chance. Number 3, Mrs. Beckham, in for second. In for third, number 2, Muse. I think the favourite definitely has to be given a good chance as well. Obviously, this horse was beaten by Bonavici and Pretty Brazen last time out, so that Pretty Brazen form line ties up with Muse and also obviously Mrs. Beckham, like I mentioned before. Different races, but Pretty Brazen still beat them both on that occasion. Muse finished much closer to Pretty Brazen, so I've got to give that a little bit of respect here. Comes out as this for the first time, which for me is a slight query. And at this track, at last time it ran here, it finished 5th, so albeit in a strong race. But sometimes you just want to see horses perform at the track, and especially at a track like Moonee Valley. And I think Muse is a good winning chance, but I just think that there's a couple ahead of her, but she'll definitely run a good race. And number 1, La 10, is a horse that we know will get to this distance range and run well. It was finished 6th last time out in that Rubasaki Pretty Brazen race, so Muse beat La 10 home, but this horse is proven at the track before. It finished second behind Sassy Solitage in the spring, so pretty good form to bring into this. Comes back on top of the ground from last start where it was on a soft track for the first time. It's never actually run on a soft track before, this horse, and didn't seem to handle the going. Comes back onto the good surface. Things going to see a much improved run from La 10. Good each way price again. So each way, any way that you bet in this race, I think that those horses will have a very nice chance. But look, Snapdance going to be the one for me. Just got to see it getting the run of the race. So I'm going to have her on top. Ahead of number 3, Mrs. Beckham, in for second. In for third, number 2, Muse. And for fourth, number 1, La 10. We've got a race number 7, and it is the Group 1 William Reid Stakes. Really looking forward to this race. It's a fantastic field. Look at the speed map for this one. I'd say Scales of Justice will be able to get forward from that barrier. Pippi, I'd say, will be the leader. It will spear out and find the front. Loving Gabby, I'd say, might be close to the speed as well. And Bivouac, I think they'll want to be positive off the inside barrier, not allow what happened in the Manikato Stakes in spring to happen again off that inside barrier where he just didn't quite step with him and he wasn't able to get prominent enough and he got held back in traffic and it was raced over by then. By the time he got out, Loving Gabby was gone. So I'd suggest they'll learn from that and won't want that to happen again. But for me, with that inside barrier and having that hesitancy to jump out of the gates, especially at Moonee Valley, you can't afford to do it. So I'm going to have to go against Bivouac, as good as he was last time out. He really was fantastic, but just with that little query, I just have to go against him. And I think number 1, Scales of Justice, the one to go here. He comes back to Moonee Valley, obviously the site that he won the Australia Stakes at, beating Haydock. He was terrific at that race, and Then he went out to Caulfield as a favourite, stepped out in the CF4 Stakes, finished by Alabama Express and Fierce Impact. But I think that form's quite decent, and his run wasn't as bad as what it might have seemed for me personally. I think that he still was okay there. He's had a bit of a freshen up since then. He comes into this race back at the track. He loves running here at Moonee Valley. And at this distance range, 1,200 metres, he's never missed the top 2 finish from 7 starts. So for me, a horse is paying $9 who really loves running at the 1,200 metres, comes back to a track that he's won from 1 at. I think it just is a really nice recipe for success, and I think he's going to get the perfect run in the race as well, be up on speed, but not a lot of speed in the race. I think it'd be very hard to beat. So I'm going to have him on top, number 1, Scales of Justice. Ahead of number 11, Lovey Gabby, who from that barrier draw, I think she's going to get a fantastic run of the race as well. I think she might be sitting just behind Scales of Justice. And if she's good enough, I think she'll power over the top. She was very good in the Newmarket behind Bivouac. It was a solid run by her. Bivouac obviously was just too good on that occasion, but she comes back to a track that she is very good at. She loves running here at Moonee Valley. She had 2 starts for 2 wins, including that Manicato that I mentioned in the spring. So she has a lot of ticks to her name based off the fact that she's so good at this track. And Craig Williams, she hasn't missed a. He rides her so well, and at this distance range, she's very good. So I think she's got her chance as well to run a good race. If the third, number 9, Bivouac, look, I think he'll still run a good race. I just think that $2.70, the fact that he just doesn't jump and off the inside barrier, you just have to pray that he jumps, because if he hesitates a fraction, it'd be almost race over for him, because he's going to have to need a lot of luck. And at Moonee Valley, sometimes that tight turning track off barrier 1 on the fence, you just don't get it. So going to be against him, but I think he'll run a great race, because that Newmarket performance is just superb. Yeah, you can't ignore that. Then if a fourth, number 10, Exceedance, I think he can improve. Obviously jump the favourite in the Newmarket. He just, where he landed in the run, remember Wayne Hawke saying that he just wasn't able to get into the race from there, and it was almost race over when he jumped. So we're going to have to hope that he performs a bit better here. In terms of betting perspective, I'm not sure if I could go him, but he's definitely a better price now. I mean, you can take him each way, and I think he will run well. Based off that barrier, I think he'll be able to sit not far from behind them, maybe 3 back on the outside with a bit of cover, and he might be able to swoop round them. And if it's a night for swoopers, he'll come right into the race. But look, fantastic race, and Missy Journey's one I haven't mentioned. She can run a good race as well, I reckon. And Guitre, you can't ignore him. His form is terrific. So there really is some. It's a fantastic race, but for me, Scales of Justice brings in different form, and I think it's the right form as well. And like I mentioned, the fact that he's just so good at the 1,200 metres, and he's won here at the Valley before. Just a lot of ticks for me, so I'm going to have him on top, ahead of number 11, Loving Gabby, and for second, and for third, number 9, Bivouac, and for fourth, number 10, Exceedance. Moving on to the final race of the card, race number 8. It's the Sunline Stakes, Group 2. Looks like a cracking field as well. I'm really looking forward to this race, the Sunline Stakes. Over 1,600 metres. Look at the speed map here for this race. Looks like Orothea will find the top. I'd say Spanish Reef won't be too far off. She's on time. Will be close to him. Mams Our Test usually close to the speed. Bam's on fire will be close enough as well. But I really do see Orothea leading this field and getting the lead on its own. So it'd be interesting to see if it's allowed to dictate the terms. And if it is, I think it'll be pretty hard to beat. Look, I can't go past Princess Jenny. I'm a little concerned about how far back she might get, but she's just the ultimate professional at this track. She loves running at the Valley. She's had 2 starts for 2 wins here. First up performance was very good at Flemington behind Wild Planet, Serious Suspect. Albeit it wasn't the strongest race, she comes into this second up where she'll be much improved. She's 3 starts, second up for 3 wins. So her record second up is miles better than his first up. So I really expect to see a very good performance from her. And I think she'll be very hard to beat with Ollie in the saddle. So I'm going to have her on top ahead of number 3, Orothea, who's a good each way chance. I think $1.75 the place is an absolute lock. I mean, I don't see her not running a top 3 race. She was very good last time out. She was just narrowly run down by Natoya at Randwick in the aspiration quality. And prior to that at Rose Hill, she was beaten by a good field in Savatiano and White Moss in the Millie Fox Stakes. So she's been running in good company. And I think she's been running in better company than this. So she's able to find the lead lead on her own and get her own time out in front. She's going to be very hard to beat. $4.80 and $1.75. Definitely a good each way play if you want to play about that. Or you want to do what I'm going to be perhaps doing and going Princess Jenny for the win, Orathea for the place. I think you can back them both, or a Quinella, or something of the sort. I really do think that she's going to get a great chance out on the speed. If a third, for Delia, look, I think she can run a good race again. She's an ultimate professional, really. She loves running in the placings. She comes to the Valley for the first time, which is a bit of a wait and sorry, she has been to the track 2 times before and only the one placing, so a little bit of a concern there. Her last 2 runs at Flemington for third, she's gone very close, done what she seems to like to do a bit, and really promised something. You think, oh, I've got to back her next start, but then she just doesn't manage to get the win on the board. I think she'll get too far back in a race. I don't think she's going to have a lot of tempo, but she will be charging home late, and I think she can finish in for third. And then if a fourth, number 7, Bam's on Fire, who should be close enough for the speed, Hugh Bowman in the saddle. Last start, again, was beaten by Paint Town 2 and just held out for Delia, so similar form lines there. And then prior to that was beaten by Graceful Glamour at Caulfield. Bam's on Fire. She's never seen the track before, but I think she can run a good enough race as well. So recap the numbers for me. The final race of the card, the Sunline Stakes at the Valley. Number 4, Princess Jenny for me on top, ahead of number 3, Orathea, in for second. In for third, number 6, Fidelia, in for fourth. Number 7, Bam's on Fire. So for me, best bet of the Valley card is in that final race, Sunline Stakes. I think Princess Jenny, number 4, is going to be extremely hard to beat. So she's my best bet of the night. Best Valley bet is Scales of Justice in the William Reid. I think he's going to be extremely difficult to beat from the fact he'll be on the speed. As an each-way proposition, he looks very, very appealing. The other best each-way value of the Valley on the night is race number 6. Number 6, Snap Dancer. I think $5.95 is still a good each way play for me, so I can have Snap Dancer on top as a value play as well. And my other best bet for the night, look, I haven't looked at the early cards in this video, but I have looked at it myself, and I think that the horse that I want to make a best bet on top of Princess Jenny as well is in race number 2, and it is number 11, Don't Tell the Boss. It's $8.50 and $2.70, but I think this horse has got a fantastic chance. I'm willing to make it one of my best bets, but last time out it was beaten by Miss Catherine and Tenley in the Typhoon Tracy. Thought that was a terrific effort on that occasion, and I think she can improve off that. She loves running here at the Valley, and I think $8.50 is a good price bet, so I'm going to make her one of my best bets as well for the Valley. So that's my preview of Moonee Valley William Reid Stakes night tonight. Moving on now into the Mornington Cup tomorrow. I'm going to sort of move through that as quickly as possible, trying to make this video too long for you, but we've obviously covered a little bit of ground with 2 meetings now. So looking at Mornington tomorrow, look, it's a fantastic meeting. It's such a shame that there'll be no crowd there. It always is a fantastic race day. It's one of my local tracks, and always is a great day of racing. So it's disappointing that we're not going to have a crowd there, but we still got a good field to have a look at and to go through. So looking at race number 1, it's for the 2-year-olds, the Quarkleen Sires. Look at the speed map for this race. Sorry, looking at the speed maps here, I'd say Glenfiddich will find the top with Amish Boy. I think they'll find the lead. Torbreck won't be too far off them as well. Helmington and Sea Witness will probably be towards the midfield. So for me, look, I think number 1 Amish Boy is going to be pretty hard to beat based off its last start performance. It was a nice win at Morphettville, beat Glenfiddich on that occasion. They meet each other again here. I think Amish Boy just will be too good again, plain and simply. I think prior to that, finished a nice 4th behind Ollie Kirk and Nitrous. So this horse has been in some good form. But look, number 1 Amish Boy for me on top of number 2 Glenfiddich, who was good behind Amish Boy last time out. But I think I just can't see it turning the tables once again here. Both have to carry the same weight. Last time out at Morphettville, they did. Glenfiddich carried 56.5, and Amish Boy carried 56.5 as well. So really, there's no change in the weight. So I think that they're the 2 to beat. Number 4, Albert Baturi is a very hard name to say, but this horse, I think, was a little bit disappointing last start up the straight at Flemington over 1,400 metres, but I think it could improve, be in a much better position this time around to run on into the race. And number 6, Torbeck, I could see it improving off the inside barrier and running a decent enough race off its last start, 5th of Ballarat behind Thudson and Fender Bender. But look, for me, the two to beat are number 1, Amish Boy, and number 2, Glenfiddich. There, obviously, the market says so. I think Amish Boy is going to be extremely hard to beat. And at number 2, Glenfiddich in for second. In for third, number 4, Albert Turi, and in for fourth, number 6, Torbeck. Move on to race number 2, and it's the McPherson Kelly benchmark 70 over 1200 metres. Look at the speed map for this race. So I'd suggest that Power, Harder, and Leali will get it forward from their inside barriers. Lady Loft, Valentina Star, Ultra Smart, and Des Moines are usually up towards the speed as well. So, and Parlay Princess will also like to get forward in its runs as well. So, interesting little race to see how it pans out here. But I think Done By Me is a very good chance here first up for Phil Stokes and Tommy Stockdale in the saddle. Is a horse that has placed twice first up, has had a nice trial leading in behind Jenny Sox Rocks, who's come out once since, so good trial form, and Charlize as well is a pretty smart horse. So I think this horse could win first up here to over the 1200 metres. Number 5, Done By Me. I think the race is going to pan out perfectly for it. Be able to come into the race and finish over the top of him. So I'm going to have it on top. Ahead of number 7, Des Moines, who was really good first up at Flemington, up the straight over 1100 metres, beaten by Diamond Effort and Miss Norway on that occasion. We'll get a bit of an insight to what that form line is like, with, of course, Miss Norway going around at Moonee Valley in the 955 metre race, and then we've got Diamond Effort going around in the Hareeba later on in the card. So looking forward to seeing how that form plays out. Number 1, Para Harter, I think could run a cheeky race first up here. Hasn't got the best first up stats, but like I mentioned leading into last prep, I gave it a bit of a chance when it ran over here in its 2 runs last preparation, coming across from New Zealand. It had some very good New Zealand form, so I'll be surprised if just the spell has perhaps improved this horse a little bit since. I think it can run a decent enough race first up, and off barrier 1, I think it's going to get a nice run of the race, so I'll be able to see what it's made of. So I've got it in for third, and then in for fourth, number 9, Leali, who's been in some decent form recently. Second last time out behind Melodian at Moonee Valley over 600 metres. So very interesting. It dropped right back to 1200 here, a distance that it's only run out once before, and I didn't place on that occasion. So very interesting to see that they've dropped it back in the 600 metres. But perhaps if it finds the top and is able to roll along, it'll just have that residual fitness. So perhaps it'll get its chance as well to run a good race. But for me, number 5, Done By Me is the one to beat. In number 7, Des Moines in for second. In for third, number 1, Power Harder. And in for fourth, number 9, Leali. Move on to race number 3 now. It's the Mercedes-Benz Mornington benchmark 78 over 1200 metres. Looking at the speed map for this one. So Ractoff will find the top. Not enough effort will be close enough to the speed as well. Limbs Lightning, Explicitly Reactor, and Sheriff Johnston of inside barriers will also look to be quite prominent. So, but not a whole lot of speed for a 1200 metre race here. And I think that, I think Ractoff's got a good chance, but I really wanted to go with number 1, Limbs Lightning here for Jim and Chris Miega. This horse comes down from the Sunshine Coast, where it finished 16th last start. But prior to that was a really good 5th behind Panino and Impasse. I'd be interested to see how it goes here at its home track in Mornington. I just think that $15 is a nice price, and I'm going to have it on top. I think it gets a nice run in the race, and we'll be able to see what it's made of. But number 2, Not Enough Effort's also got a very good chance for Sharon Trolov. Good first up form, really good over this distance range. I think it'll be sharp and ready to go first up here over 1200 metres. So I'll give it a nice each way chance of the $7.50 in for second. In for third, number 9, Ractoff will also be up on the speed doing its own thing. Very sharp horse, and I think has had 1 win from the track before. So I do like that. I do think that similar to the Moonee Valley, you want to have good form at the Mornington track. And in for number 11, Too Good, Too Hard, who definitely has a great chance of winning this race, and will be finishing home powerfully. I'm just not sure. I think 330 perhaps is a little bit of unders here for me, considering there's not a huge amount of tempo for a 1200 metre race based off what I see on the speed map. But I definitely could see this horse got a great chance. It's 3 from 3 from the distance range and has won at the track before, so there's plenty of ticks there. Just think 330 is a bit of a short price, considering I think that there's a few others that have a good chance. But look, for me, number 1, Limbs Lightning, coming back to Mornington, I think it's got a good chance here, back at its home track. And obviously its Singapore form is really good, so if you can replicate that kind of form here in Australia, I think you'll be winning this race quite we're not going to say easily, but I think it can win this race. In for second, number 2, Not Enough Effort. In for third, number 9, Racktoff. And in for fourth, number 11, Too Good, Too Hard. Moving on to race number 5, it's the No Fuss Hot Event High, benchmark 78 over the 1,000 metres. Look at the speed map here. Not a whole lot of surprises. There's a lot of speed for a 1,000 metre race, but I knew she was mine, our Gladiator. I think the 2 Drome Hunter horses have the key to this race, so I think they'll find the top. With Mr. Mogul also being up there, Design Rouge usually likes to get close to the speed as well. And Aloof will probably be up towards the speed as well. But look, I think this race will pan out perfectly for number 9, C Tonic, if it is able to find a spot in. I think it's a good price as well. I think where is he? Number 9. Yeah, here we go. $11. I think it's a nice price. Last time out was a little bit disappointing up the straight at Moonee Valley, but behind Sangreen, absolute flirt. But prior to that, was very strong at Sandown, where it beat Beautiful Bee. So I think that if it can return to that type of form, I think it'll go really well here. Comes back, goes from the 1100 back to the 1,000 metres. So I think it'll be Teo Nugent. Just the way the race looks as shape, I think that this horse will get a really good chance to run into the race well. So I've got her on top, ahead of number 8, Human Nature, who was terrific last time out at Moonee Valley of 955 metre event. Comes to this race here, I think it's got a good chance once again. I was able to get around Moonee Valley nicely. Similar track here in Mornington in terms of the tight straight, and you get to come down the hill, down the side. So very similar type of setup for the track wise, and I think that Human Nature will get its chance running, and I think it got in for second. If a third for me, number 11, Sizzle Fly, has got a good chance first up here. Loves the tracks. Had 2 starts to track for 2 wins. 2 starts first up for 2 wins. It was a sharp trial at Cranbourne behind Knowles and Last Chavy. So I think each way price, very good chance. Very similar to Dumbo Amelia in the card. I think $6 and 225 is definitely a good each way play. And the other one that I want to give a bit of a chance to is number 1, Our Gladiator, who $16 for me is a bit silly considering this horse. But my one concern is I think this horse will go around in tonight at the Moonee Valley. Obviously, it's still nommed there, so it might be scratched. And if that's the case, I think number 4, I knew she was mine. She gets all the favours because she'll find the speed. And $6.50 last time out was just too strong for him at Sandown. She's been able to kick on nicely, and obviously comes into this off just a 9-day backup. An 8-day backup. So hasn't had too much of a spell here, and I think that it could run a nice race. Number 4, I knew she was mine. So recap the numbers for me. I think number 9, C Tonic's the one to beat. Ahead of number 8, Human Nature, in for second. In for third, number 11, Sizzle Fly, I think it's a very good each way price. And in for fourth, number 4, I knew she was mine. Moving on to race number 5 now. It's the Peninsula Essence benchmark 90 over the 2,000 metres, and it's a pretty good 2,000 metre race as well. Looking at the speed map here, I'd say US Army Ranger will be close towards the speed. Grand Crown and Miramar, all hardwood, Cinder Win, Bag Raider. They're not all usually leaders, but one of them's going to have to lead, so I'm interested to see which one does. But look, for me, I think it's interesting, US Army Ranger. I think it's actually a little bit over the odds here at the $61. I think it could go close to finding the speed, and this is a horse that has won $861,000 in prize money. It's been a proven performer. Obviously, it went round in a good 2,000 metre race at Moonee Valley. Then it went to Caulfield and finished by another Coldie over 2,400 metres. So last prep didn't show too much, but I think that this time round, it comes into this first up here. Its first up form isn't too bad, to be honest, and so I just think this horse just might be a good chance. If it can run up to its best form, I think it can really shake this race up. So I'm going to put it on top. I'm going out a limb here, but I just think $61 and $16 a place is just a little bit over the odds. So I can't believe it's the outside of the field, considering it's easily got the best form in the race. So I'm going to give it a chance to win, to be honest. So I'm going to have it on top ahead of number 7, the Statesman, who I think will be much better than its first up performance, second up here. It's not usually a proven first up performance, so I'm going to forgive that run and give it a good chance here. Comes to a distance range is much more comfortable. It looks to get a good run into the race, so I think it can run a good race in for second. In for third, number 8, Miramar, who's been unlucky at its last two starts, finished second, was just beaten by All Sabre last time out. Steps out to the 2,000 metres. It's much better at this distance range. Has never missed a place from 2 goes in this distance range, so I think it's got a good chance. I think 450 might be a fraction short, but I do say it's got a good chance. And number 13, Bag Raider, I think Coming out to 2,000 metres for the first time this prep. It's just been building up to this. There's been a couple of decent enough runs without being too good, but I think coming out to 2,000, it's going to be carrying 52.5 kilos with Reid Curls, his 1.5 kilo claim, and he's been on fire recently, so I think it's got a good chance. But look, for me, number 1 US Army Ranger, I think it's just well over the. I just think that it shouldn't be the outside of the field. Its best form will win this race. So if it can run up to that kind of form, I think it could win this race. I'm going to have it on top, just for the simple fact that I think it's way over the odds. But look, a good winning chance is number 7, the Statesman, for me. I think $10 and $3.20 the place is also a good each way price. If for second, number 8, Miramar. If for third, number 13, Bag Raider. I went against Selsamore, who's in good form. I just think that I'm just not sure about the form around it at the moment. I just don't think it's the strongest form in comparison to some of the rest of them. So I was willing to go against it, against the favourite in that race. Moving on to race number 6, and we're looking at the Ned's Guineas, and really nice race. This one is a nice 7-8 horse field to go around at Mornington. Look at the speed map here. I'd say the Lifeline will find the top. Mostly Sunny will be close to speed as well. A New Choice will be right up there as well. But not a whole lot of speed in this race, and as such, I do think it will really favour the on-speed runners, and I think that. But I do think the number 8, Chucker Luck, will be the one to beat. It's the favourite, $5. It was really well supported on debut at Sandown. It was a terrific run, was beaten by Falls and Left Hand Man on that occasion. Those two horses have been in good form. Look, it's going to have to improve off of that, but I think it's got plenty of improvement in it. And John McNeil in the saddle is in great form. So I'm going to have it on top. Ahead of number 6, the Lifeline is going to be out in front, and I really don't see any pressure on it at all, which for me is really going to suit this horse nicely. It goes from the 1400 up to the 16. Second up here, I just think we'll see a bit more improvement from this horse. And if it's allowed to lead and dictate the speed like the speed map suggests it will, I think $14 or $4.20 the place is a very nice price to go each way. So I'm going to have him for second. If a third, number 1, Your Deal, who's been running in some good company, and last time out was 7th in the same race as the Lifeline on that occasion, but I think could improve off of that last up performance. Comes into this third up here, has had a place in third up before. Is a horse that tends to get better further into its preparation, so might see an improved performance by it. And then in for fourth for me, number 10 Turidan, who's $15 odds, but the form around its last win at Race.com Park has been very good. 3-1, should have won last night at Pakenham. It was a very sick beat. And there's a few others out of that race that have also come out and won. So the form around Turidan looks really good coming out of a maiden race. It's going to have to obviously improve stepping out into this class, but I think it can run a good race once again as well. But the recap numbers for me, I think number 8, Chucklark's extremely hard to beat. Ahead of number 6, the Lifeline. In for second, in for third, number 1, Your Deal. And in for fourth, number 10, Turidan. Moving on to race number 7, it's the Mornington Cup over 2,400 metres. Really good addition of the Mornington Cup this year. Look at the speed map. I'd say that Inverloch will find the top with Hush Rider. They'll be the 2 speed horses. Venguer Masque, Four Clues Bay, and Harlem won't be too far off the speed. Actow and Bowmain will be probably just off the speed as well. But look, for me, I'm very keen to play number 3, Venguer Masque here. I've gone with a few roughies at Mornington. I think this is one that's got a great winning chance. Look, he was average last time out behind Kealia Grants and De Beer at Flemington on that occasion. Look, I think that it can, over 2,600 metres, steps back to the 2,400, comes to Mornington, a track that has finished second at before in a Mornington Cup. So he has got around this track before. He's going to be right up on the speed, not a lot of speed in this race. So I think he would just get a real good run of the race, and I think he's got a good chance if he can run up to his best form, which he hasn't done this preparation. I will concede that, but I think he's got a really good chance here second up. He obviously was disappointing first up, but he's not a first up performer, so I'm willing to forgive that. Second up, he has won before second up, so he's not flashy. I think he can get a really good chance in this race here, so I'm going to have him on top. Headed number 2, Hush Rider, who will be out in front leading on its own. Has been disappointing thus far. It was 11th last time out, but that Australia Cup form is really good. 50 stars, and Regal Power, Regal Power obviously winning the All-Star Mile last week, which I tipped on my Facebook and Instagram pages, so go and check them out if you haven't already done so. But I think this horse allowed to lead, and it'll be a good chance of winning again. Has placed this track before in a Mornington Cup, so I think it's got a good enough chance as well. Number 14, Just Benjamin. He's a very good type, and Anthony Freeman's got a very good hold on a lot of the key races across the day on Saturday. I think he's got a very good chance. Number 14, Just Benjamin. Not sure about how far back in the field he'll get, but stepping out to 2,400 metres, I think he's going to really improve off of that. And number 11, Actau, I've got to give him a chance in for fourth. He's been terrific thus far since he's come to Australia, and I think he's got a good chance. But recap the numbers for me, I thought number 3, Venguer Masque, was just a good each way price. I had to have him on top. I had a number 2, Hush Rider, in for second, in for third. Number 14, Just Benjamin, and in for fourth, number 11, Actau. Move on to race number 8, and it's the Hareeba Stakes over the 1,200 metres. Look at the speed map for this race. I'd say that Roxer Castle and Fartno will find the top. Diamond Effort. Runson will be towards the speed. Snitzcraft will be close enough to the speed as well. But not a whole lot of speed for a 1,200 metre race here. And look, I'm quite keen on number 12, Prophet's Thumb. I'm just concerned about how much speed there is in the race and whether it can run on from the back. But look, I think that its recent jump out was really good, very sharp, and I think it's first up here for Anthony Freedman. I think he can run a good race here. His recent trial was fantastic at Cranbourne, beat Terbium on that occasion. I really liked that bit of effort. First up stats are very good, and I just think he can perform first up here. If he just gets the tempo, if the tempo is right for him, he'll really come into the race nicely. So I think I've got to give him a good chance on top here to win first up at $5.50 and $2.15 the place. In for second, number 3, Bonds Away, who his best is definitely up to winning this race. Kieran Marth's quite keen on him. His recent work at Moonee Valley was very sharp, so he'll come into this race ready to go. He was unlucky in a Hareeba Stakes last year, finished second on that occasion. If he comes back and produces that sort of performance here, he'll go very close. But look, his form lines are fantastic. Last time he was 3 lengths off Pippi and Zatori at Caulfield. And then prior to that, he was 4th behind Jungle Legend, I'm Immortal. So, I mean, that's proper group form where he's bringing to a race where a lot of these aren't probably quite up to that level. So, he's definitely got his chance at the $12. If he can just get into it a good enough spot from barrier number 6, he'll be in well within the finish. Number 4, Rich Charm. He's an interesting runner first up here. We know that he's had a very long laugh. He hasn't run since 2018, so I don't think he's a winning chance, but he definitely could flash home to get into the placings. His best, once again, similar to Bonds Away, will go very close in a race like this, so I expect him to run a good race as well. And number 15, Diamond Effort, has been in terrific form. Last start at Flemington was very good. I'm just not sure about the form so far around Diamond Effort, but still going to concede she's in good form and she's winning, so that's a big plus. The other horse that I think's perhaps a bit over the odds, number 11, Mono Blanik, who will improve off its first up performance, comes to its home track. It's only ever run here once, so I think it can improve off of that. So I'll be interested to see how he can run at the $27 and $7.50 the place. If you want an each way play it, I wouldn't go against it. So, but recap the numbers for me. Look, I'm pretty keen to go number 12, Prophet's Thumb here, as long as the tempo is right for it and they're able to come out and swoop it on the day. I think this horse got a great chance of winning. So I've got it on top ahead of number 3, Bonds Away, who is a very good each way chance. If he runs up to his best, he'll win this race, I believe. Number 4, Rich Charm in for third. Again, similarly, I think you can see him running a cheeky race. And in for fourth, number 15, Diamond Effort. Move on to the final race of the card. It's the Ned same race multi, benchmark 78 over 1,600 metres. Look at the speed map here. It's quite not a bad race either. Look at this. I'd say Nudge Bar and Peerless will find the top with Sentimentalist not far off them. So not a whole lot of speed in this race here. But look, I'm pretty keen to go with number 2, Declares War here. Comes to this second up, off a 7th first up at Flemington behind Jumbo Ozaki and Polanco. It was just okay on that occasion, but steps out to the 1,600 here. Well, I think we're going to see a much improved performance by this horse. And second up has had a placing before. I think in a race like this, I could definitely see it winning. So I'm going to have it on top ahead of number 5, Peerless, who I think is just well over the odds here. Has won at the track before, will be up on the speed. Don't see a lot of tempo, and I just think that last time out, its 8th at Flemington was disappointing in that Jumbo Ozaki race, but prior to that was in very good form. It finished second at Red Healer, and prior to that, it beat Pina at Moonee Valley, was in very good form. So goes to the 1,400 metres last start, where I think the tempos didn't quite suit for it to come on. They obviously did swoop around them out wide, so I think coming out to the 16 again will allow it to settle a bit more and comes back to a track that it has won well at before. So I think $20 odds about Peerless is a bit silly. I can give it a good chance in for second. In for third, number 1, Fanciful Toff, who's looking for much further, but can run a good race first up here, I think, and get into the placings. And in for fourth, number 3, Wham, who has been around the mark recently and was in that Jumbo Ozaki race as well. But look, out of that Jumbo Ozaki race, I want to beat number 2, Declares War, second up here out to the 1,600 metres. I think it's going to be hard to beat. Ahead of number 5, Peerless, who I thought was well over the odds. For second and for third, number 1, Fanciful Toff. And then for fourth, number 3, Wham. So recapping, the best bets for me are the card at Mornington. So for me, just looking back through the card, I'm quite keen on in race number 2, number 5, Done By Me. I'm going to make it one of my best bets of the card. So race number 2, number 5, Done By Me at the $5.50, one of my best bets of the day. And the other one I am quite keen on is in race 9, number 2, Declares War at the $5. I was going to make Amish Boy in race number 1, but I don't like to make best bets at $2, but I do also think it's going to be extremely hard to beat. So, look, but I'm going to make my